Hey guys, welcome to the Frack and Friend Show, episode 25. 25 episodes into this. I almost just tapped out of this for a second. Super scary. Wow. So guys, we have an amazing guest today. Those who know me personally, know I have a unhealthy obsession with Come From Away. Come From Away, I remember, which we're going to talk about the first time I saw it in New Orleans, and why I saw it in the first place without knowing anything about it. But we have Miss Hannah, who is, Miss Q, who is Hannah on the Broadway production of Come From Away with us today. And Denise, what's going on?
I am doing good, buddy. I'm doing good. I am a huge Broadway nerd myself. I love watching Broadway and musicals. I love them all. And I actually have never seen Come From Away. I was really excited to watch it. And I'm really excited to talk to Miss Q Smith coming out here and see where she's been, where she's been, what she's been doing since then.
It's always important because, usually for us and for anybody in the world, we always know an actor, we know an actress or a singer for something in particular, but we never know the full story of someone's life. And to be able to bring her on today is an honor. It's an incredible opportunity. I'm going to try to not get emotional. I feel like I'm getting emotional right now. I feel the waterworks coming. So, if for some reason I don't speak, that means, all right, Denise,
I'm coming in. I'll come in. I got you.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and welcome Q.
Hi, everybody.
Oh,
we're gonna do a 3-minute standing ovation.
Yeah, for reals.
This is like reliving my Come From Away days, except for I'm not falling. Hello, Miss Q. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Thank you for asking me to be here. It's a good day. It's a good day.
So where are you right now? Are you in New York?
I'm in New York. We just moved to a 2-bedroom apartment, and I'm looking outside of our balcony window. Oh, you probably can't see it.
Hey!
I know exactly where you are.
No. It's rainy, but I like rainy days. It's a bit poetic.
Yes, it is.
It's rainy over this way too, and I feel that absolutely.
It's
and my
sunny
son is
here.
taking a nap. Oh yeah. What's the temperature?
I'm sweating, so probably 90 degrees.
Oh,
yeah. But you know what?
It's a different breed.
My absolute most favorite thing about being in New York is when it rains, because the crowds disperse. And it's usually just a couple people just walking in the rain, whether you have an umbrella, whether you have any ponchos, or, if you're like me, just walking in the rain. It's just so relaxing and, very different, very, very different than over here. I would never walk in the rain here,
Yeah.
But so I want to go ahead and just start off with an introduction about yourself. I want to kind of know, what was life growing up and what were your original dreams or aspirations?
Well, I am from Omaha, Nebraska, and I have 2 older brothers, and grew up in a middle-class family, and I was involved in the church. My grandmother was the drama leader of the church. Nice. And then it passed down to my mom, and I would do all the Christmas plays and Easter plays and sing in the choir. So I was raised around a lot of art. My dad was a photojournalist. He was the first Black photojournalist in the state of Nebraska.
Wow.
And so I grew up with a lot of art, a lot of people, different kinds of people, different experiences. It was a great childhood. It was a wonderful childhood. And I was inspired, by them. And I caught the bug probably in high school. Like I did it at church and stuff when I was little, but I didn't really, it was just fun,
Yeah.
But when I got to high school, you know, you do the plays and it's like real rehearsal and people are serious. And I sort of got really passionate about it. And my teacher was like, you know, you have something special. You should think about studying musical theater in college. And I was like, you can actually get a degree in musical theater. I had no idea. He's like, oh yeah. I was like, oh my God, I should do this. And I was a late bloomer. So I didn't realize this until about 10th or 11th grade.
Wow.
And so I started like doing everything I could to like soak in all the theater that I could, trying to do things outside of school and community theater. And but I was still a little bit behind. And these two, I have to say, these two Black girls in my chorus class, they would sing show tunes. And on Fridays, our teacher, who I'm still in touch with, he's my favorite teacher.
Wow.
They would sing show tunes. I've never really heard of show tunes. And I was like, it was 10th grade. And I was like, where are these songs from? I love this music, this kind of music. They're like, you've never heard of show tunes? You've never heard of Broadway shows? And I was like, not really. And they're like, they gave me the tape. This is 1992 or 3 or something, a long time ago. And they gave me the tape of Les Mis and the tape of Miss Saigon and the tape of Phantom of the Opera, like the classics.
Right.
And they're like, take it home, study. And I was like, okay. But I'd never seen brown people sing this kind of music before. So that's why I have to be sort of say that they were Black women. And I was really inspired. And then I fell in love with Les Mis. And I kept listening to it, Patti LuPone, you know, listening. And then I found out it was coming to Omaha. I begged my parents to go see it. And they took me to go see it. They had no idea what it was, but they were very supportive. I'm like, okay. And we were sitting like, I don't know, 5th row or something like that. And I was like, oh, this is what I want to do for my life. And I got really, really serious about it. And I was probably around 11th grade at that time. And then that senior year comes around, I start auditioning for schools. And I didn't get into any school, actually.
Come on.
It took me a few years to get it, 3 years to get into a performing arts, performing arts school. Nobody accepted me. So I stayed home in Nebraska and I went to the local university there. I studied drama, and which was everything happens for a reason. So
Absolutely.
I got a great education there. I had to take lighting classes, costume classes, you name it, acting. I had to take it all. And so, but every year I kept auditioning. My freshman year in college, I kept auditioning for schools. And I was on a full ride scholarship where I was going for academics, but it's not what I really wanted to do. I wanted to study musical theater. And I didn't want to do lights and costumes. It's important, but I didn't want to do that.
Baby steps.
So I finally got accepted into Ithaca after my sophomore year at University of Nebraska. Ithaca was the only school that accepted me, so I was like, I'm going. So there it is. I was in school altogether 5 years, 2 years in Nebraska and 3 years at Ithaca.
Ithaca is definitely not to sneeze at though.
Oh yeah. Wow. I didn't know that then. I was just like, I've auditioned for every school in New York. I swear I have. Okay, and my dad brought home a performing arts book, and he was like, look through this, and I looked through it, and I was like, I've auditioned for like all of these schools because I really wanted to be on the East Coast, and I was like, Ithaca, never heard of it, and I kept going, just kept fingering through the page. The next day, I come home, sit in front of the TV, and I opened the book again, and there's Ithaca, and I was like, okay. So I applied, and thank God I applied. It changed my life, and that was my beginnings. And I'm actually singing tonight at an event for Ithaca at the Marriott.
Come on. Wow.
Yeah, I love my school. I love my school. Mm-hmm.
That's remarkable. That's remarkable. So your very first show that you got to see that was like Broadway was Les Mis?
Yes, it was. And that was my Broadway debut. So I cried pretty much every day walking to work. Like, I'm going to work?
That's full circle right there.
Yeah, totally.
Wow, what a great show, by the way. I'm a big Les Mis fan. I have not had the opportunity to see a Broadway production of it. I've seen all the Broadway production movies or videos, and then I saw the actual, the two movies that had released. But hopefully, I think it's going to Houston very soon, and I would love to see Les Mis live because I mean, ooh,
yeah. Chicken skin, as they say in Hawaii. Chicken skin.
Q, what are some of your other kind of favorite musicals that you've either been inspired by or kind of know the music to, just bop around to?
Ragtime.
Nice.
Love Ragtime.
Wow.
I love Parade. There's a show that my husband was in. It was his first Broadway show called Passing Strange.
Come on.
So it's so smart. It's so smart. And I love Book of Mormon. He was also on the original company Book of Mormon. And
fantastic. Wow.
What other shows? I love the Dream Girls, and I love the Urinetown is hilarious.
Oh yeah.
I like
Urinetown. You were talking about the two Black girls kind of being your inspiration to do show tunes. I'm sure like shows like Dream Girls also kind of depicted Black singers in a great light, and I think that's fantastic.
It's funny that we talk about that because after I got all the cassette tapes of these like classic Broadway shows, I was like, I really want to do this. So I looked in the Sunday paper in the entertainment section for auditions, and I saw an audition for Dream Girls, and I went and I booked it. It's community theater, and I was in the ensemble, and the director was like, "Can you understudy Effie?" I didn't really know what an understudy was. I was just like,
"Wow,
sure." And I was 16. I was turning 16. And she kept missing rehearsals, and because it's community theater, and I just loved it so much. I knew everybody's parts. I would just study. And so when people were late, because this wasn't, you don't get paid for it. People came after work, and you rehearsed for 3 hours. People went home to their families and went to work the next morning. So I just jumped in when guys, girls, I would just jump in and do their parts. I knew the choreography. I just knew it all. I just loved it. I loved every minute. And the night before opening night, she doesn't come in. And they're like, "It's on you, kid." I was like, it's like classic. It's all on you, kid. I was like, what? So I went on for Effie, and I lost my voice. I had no vocal training. Lost my voice. But I spoke most of the songs, and but they still enjoyed it, and we extended the show. We got great reviews or whatever, and and they are the directors of that community theater. This is back when I was 16 years old. They are here in New York City today, and they're going to come to my performance tonight.
No way.
Isn't that crazy? Yes.
That's wild. Like,
I'm
literally
so excited to perform for them and say, "Look what you inspired. This is for you."
I wish I was in New York right now, man.
Q, it seems like a lot of things have given you, like the universe has given you a lot of awesome opportunities and like helped you boost a lot of things. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I have an amazing life. I'm so grateful. I have an amazing life, and I love my life. I love it, ups and downs, good and bad. It all works out. It all works out, and I'm so grateful.
Wow, that's incredible, Q. So when it comes down to Broadway shows, you mentioned one of my favorites now, which is the Phantom of the Opera. So actually just in August, I saw Phantom of the Opera for the very first time front row in New York City.
Wow.
I'm so sorry. I disappoint people all the time. Originally, when I said I'd never seen Phantom, never even seen the movies. And let me tell you, Ben Crawford, like the second he spoke, I said, that's Shrek. I said, that's Shrek.
We did Les Mis together.
Oh my, did you?
We did. We were just newbies. 2006.
Oh,
And his voice is
wow.
incredible. He was so young, and he was like he covered a couple of tracks. And when he went on, I was just like, oh my god, he was so
Wow.
young. He was so young, so
Yeah.
incredible. I'm so proud of him. Yeah.
I mean, it was, the show itself was remarkable, especially being front row.
Ugh.
Honestly, I didn't know much of the plot. I've never even, one thing about me, I don't like listening to music if I haven't seen or if I'm planning to go see the show in my life. And Phantom was just one that never came around here. So I said, well, eventually, we'll go see it. And I think it was the only show that was playing. I think it was like a Thursday, 2 p.m. or something, because everything in New York, is either night
Mhm.
or Wednesdays and Saturdays, 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. And Phantom
Mhm.
was the only one playing. And I told my girlfriend, I said, let's go see Phantom. Like no excuse. We're here and let's just go see how it is. And I went up to the box office and I said, hey, can I get the closest seats? And they said, yeah, we can give you a front row if that's good. And I said, yes.
Yes.
And my very first time seeing it, I was blown away. My girlfriend, she doesn't really like it because I sing it constantly. Like constantly. Like soon as she walks in, I'm probably gonna break out in that song. But she gets really annoyed because I don't think she was much into it the way I was. I was captivated by the setting, the costumes, the vocalist. I mean,
Beautiful.
it
Yeah.
was just beautiful. But
Mhm.
what was your first time, or when was your first time that you were able to see Phantom of the Opera?
I saw Phantom probably in college,
Wow,
and you hear it for so many years. It's such like a staple, a Broadway
it is.
staple, and I was like, okay, so I've seen it. I've seen it like four times. A couple times on Broadway, a couple times on tour, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Did you get to
Yeah.
see Ben Crawford do it?
No, I saw it years ago. Years ago.
Oh, and then you live in New York, you know?
Actually, don't live far from that theater.
I could just erase that part in case Ben watches this. But that's incredible. That's incredible. I remember my exposure of Broadway, I should probably say I really don't, but I've seen so many shows in New Orleans at the Singer Theater. And of course, my girlfriend and I go to New York quite often, and it's only to see shows. Like right now, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure I'm going to be going in about 3 weeks because a whole new lineup of
Oh,
shows have been released, and Death of a
mhm.
Salesman with Wendell Pierce and Samuel
Yes.
Jackson, John David Washington is on in a play. I mean,
Yes.
so I'm thinking beginning December, which is my birthday, I'm going to go ahead and go.
Oh,
And every time I go, it's between usually 7 to 10 shows within a week. It's
that's
a
how
Full
lot.
you do it. That
immersion.
is how you do it.
Full
It's
immersion
Huh?
over here.
it's
Oh,
it's addiction. I mean, I tell people all the time, like I was there in May and I saw I think it was 8 shows in 5 days, 4 or 5 days. It was like 8 shows, and the people I went with refused to even go see one. And I said, "How do you go to New York City and
yeah,
not
yeah.
go see a Broadway?" Which, by the way, let me just say this because he's gonna watch this. They both regret not going. So, you know. But
See.
I've seen everything. I've seen everything, a good bit of everything that's on Broadway, and
Mm.
but my question for you is, looking into Broadway, and just as in a fan's perspective, what brings you to go see a show?
Mhm. It could be it could be a few things. I know someone in it that I want to support. Um, I'm auditioning for it to replace
Oh,
someone.
yeah.
Um, or but ultimately, if it's an original show, like original shows, can get me. You know what I mean? Like movies
Definitely.
to Broadway, like movies to the stage, and
Jukebox.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
a huge fan. They don't always
me
translate
too.
that well, but I'll go
Definitely.
see it. If
Oh,
I
me
if I
too.
know someone or if I'm intrigued how it transitions, how it transferred. But typically, I like original shows. Like, let's see what this is about. And I don't read reviews a lot at all,
Yeah.
really. And I don't want to be affected by someone else's opinion. I
Yeah,
just want to see
that's for the
something
best.
Yeah.
That's for the best.
Yeah. I mean, because, me
Yeah.
personally, when it comes down to reviews for Broadway shows, I don't think I've ever read reviews for any. A lot of the times, I'm on these Broadway groups and I sell a lot of Broadway show tickets as well to people, and they come back and they tell me like, you got to go see Moulin Rouge. There's confetti everywhere, and like, they always tell me like details about like, their experience, and that's what kind of draws me is like, people are saying like, you need to go see this and this and this, and I don't bother looking even at the cast most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
unless I
Mm-hmm.
know somebody. I remember going to see A Bronx Tale with Christiane Pitts, and she's a friend of mine. And of course, I know what A Bronx Tale is. I grew up in the '90s. Chaz Palminteri just, coming back as a Sonny, that was a huge draw for me. But
Mm-hmm.
but like I said before, Phantom of the Opera, I had no idea Ben Crawford was in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that I didn't, because it just blew me
Mm-hmm.
away. Blew any
Yeah.
expectations away.
Mm-hmm.
Q,
Mm-hmm.
you've been in the industry for a little bit now. How does it feel kind of going from back then to up to now? Like, has it changed a lot for you in Broadway? Has it changed? Have musicals changed in
Mm.
Broadway for you?
Mm-hmm. Great question. Uh, I think the recipe for the musicals are kind of the same, right? Until Come From Away. I
Right.
think that show, I think the show in itself is so different and so off the grid, like out of the recipe book. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Definitely.
They created like a masterpiece. Um, for the most part, shows have a formula,
Yeah.
and I think that has sort of stayed. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Right.
Because you have your theater goers that show up and want to see that formula.
Yes.
But yeah,
Or
I've
people
been
just being
here.
introduced to it, like Gen Zers or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it has changed as far as like casting, as far as
Yeah.
uh, just I feel like actors are speaking up about their rights and speaking up about just fairness in general. And I think now directors are taking more risks on casting and on shows. They're like, well, this is different. Let's see how this works.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
I'm gonna
Um,
interject really quick. I have a friend in DC named Jade Jones, and she is doing Beauty and the Beast at the Olneytheater, and
yeah.
yeah, they have experimented with Beauty and the Beast. The reason why it's getting so much hype is because Beast is peg-legged, basically. Like he's deformed in that sort of way where
Wow.
he has a handicap. And Belle, who is Jade Jones, one of my friends, is kind of like a bigger, heavier set Black woman, and it's
Yeah.
it's so cool that the director took that risk and now is profiting from it because it's a huge hit now, and it's just nice that directors, you're right,
Yes.
are taking risks like that and getting more
Yes.
diverse, especially with their casting too. For sure, important.
I think I've seen clips of her singing, and I think
She's
the
amazing.
director's Marsha Milgram Dodge, who
Yes.
I've worked with as well. And I
Of
remember
course you
saying,
have.
it's like, is this what I think I'm saying? And I was like, whoa, who would have,
Wow.
like, it's brilliant. I want to see it so badly.
Yeah, I
I
think
wanted to see it. Is it still going?
So I think it's going up until like January 1st or something. I think I'm gonna try and go up there in December and try and see her in it and support her, because she's doing an amazing job with the musical, and I've never seen Beauty and the Beast done like that. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yes. There's what is beauty, right?
Yes, exactly.
What is beauty? And so I think that's what the director's challenging people to ask themselves. What is beauty to you? You know what I mean? And there's all different kinds of beauty, and it's just amazing. I love that she did that.
Just I just really love the diversity that's going on in musicals now and in Broadway.
Yeah.
I think it's super important.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible, man. It's cool because I do agree with you. You know, there is a formula in Broadway, especially, but you know, I'm trying to remember if there's besides Come From Away. I'm trying to remember if anything I've seen recently has broken that formula. I really liked the Harry Potter, you know, in New York. I thought the formula was really kind of washed away from that, you know, but yeah, I mean, look, you know, Come From Away, which we're going to dive into because that's
let's just do it, man. Let's just do it. Yeah.
All right, guys. Welcome to the Rock. I'm not gonna sing it. I was like, well, let me not.
You can.
I don't want to embarrass myself.
What even got you into that show, Q? How did you come about this wonderful musical?
Well. Wouldn't you like to know
Yeah.
that I was doing Mary Poppins at a regional theater in Arkansas. I got a call from my agent saying, hey, they're looking to cast, they're looking for one or two more people. This new show, it's called Come From Away, and it's a 9/11 musical. And I said, no, thank you. And I was like, who does a musical about 9/11? Like, I was there for that. I was there for 9/11. I don't want to sing about it. Yeah. And then he calls back. He's like, give it a second thought. It has some legs. It's gotten some good feedback from people. And I was like, who's doing it? And he said La Jolla Playhouse. And I was like, oh, I'll do it. Because La Jolla Playhouse, they house shows that go to Broadway.
Yeah.
They're able to fund a new musical. They did Rent, they did The Wiz, they did Jersey Boys, they did. And I've always wanted to audition for them. I've never had the opportunity to audition for them. And I'm like, I don't care what it is, I'm auditioning for this theater. So I didn't know anything about it. I didn't get the script. And I got a couple of sides. They wanted me to read for, not Hannah first. They wanted me to read for Beulah. And Beulah and Bonnie, who takes care of the animals. And so I did. And I was in Arkansas and I was in tech. So you rehearse till midnight. And so in between, like on dinner breaks, I'll call my agent, or he would call me and give me the script. And it's like, you know, can you try this? They saw your tape and they want to, can you do this accent or can you do this? I'm like, okay. So I do rehearsals. I would record these auditions at like 2:00 in the morning in the studio, dead tired.
Wow.
And I still hadn't read the script, but I thought it was interesting. I'm like, okay. So I had like 2 callbacks. The initial callback, and then they had me adjust some things, and they asked me to read for Hannah, and I was like, okay. And so I booked it like a couple of days later, and I was supposed to go to a wedding after I finished that run in Arkansas, and I actually flew straight to La Jolla Playhouse and started rehearsal for Come From Away, and I think it was me and one other person that did not audition in person. So I ran to the director and I was like, thank you. I'm so excited. I don't even know what the show is about, but okay. And I didn't read the script until first day of rehearsal. Most everybody had read it before and I hadn't read it. So sitting at the table, reading the script, and I was like, she loses her son. Oh my, like everything was unfolding at that rehearsal table for me. And I was like,
already
yeah, wow. It was incredible. It was incredible. So that's how that happened.
Well, tell us about the first table read for you guys. Like how was that? How was the emotions for everyone as a whole? I mean, did y'all get
forget about it. It was like pass the tissue. And we didn't even know each other, you know what I mean? And it was just the show really quickly bonded us so quickly because we were all basically most of us were from New York.
Yeah.
We were there for 9/11. And so we didn't know how special this show was until because it's a new show. So constant in rehearsals, you're constantly trying new things.
Yes.
And the choreographer is putting moves on your body type and just trying to figure out every department is trying to figure out how to make this puzzle piece work. The music department. So during previews, what would happen is that we would have rehearsal during the day from 10 to 6 or 10 to 5, whatever it was. And we would learn all this material, do the show at 8 o'clock. And they would watch the show. And then after the show, we sit in the audience, we sit in the house, and they would give us notes. Get home, we would have the email saying, hey, we're going to change the opening number, rehearsal first thing in the morning. We get there in the morning, we completely changed the opening number. The writers went home, they wrote a whole new song, so the choreographer had to come up with new dances, and we were trying to figure out everything. So get to rehearsal, learn the new song, we put it in that night. And this goes on this is the process of a new show. It goes on for a while, and we're like dying. And then it got to the point, like after they changed a whole song, they would just change. They almost got the song to where they wanted it. So they just started changing like a lyric here and there, or instead of that, it's the. So it was just enough to make you crazy. And I would go home with headaches, and I never get headaches. Like rarely do I get a headache. I went home with headaches like every night, just like it's the hardest show I've ever done. We make it look really simple because it's just chairs and a table, but it is very, very challenging. Emotionally, physically, artistically, it's very challenging. And so our opening night, we get a standing ovation, and we're sort of looking at each other like, do they like it? Because we don't know. We're like, we have this little bitty show, this little 12-person show. It's really cute. And then they stand up and they wouldn't sit down. And we're like, okay, all right, tomorrow it'll be different. It'll be different tomorrow. Roaring, standing up. We're like, okay. And since day one, it has not changed. We have been very spoiled. It has been the same response. I've never been in a show like that, ever.
Wow.
I think you described it perfectly as a puzzle piece, working puzzle piece. The whole time I was telling Frack while we were watching it, like, oh my gosh, I'm unbelievably amazed at how specifically coordinated this whole show is, including, for those of you who haven't seen it at home, it has a rotating stage, which is so confusing for some actors, I'm sure, to get everything while also moving set pieces around, while also doing costume changes, while also getting into a whole other character. You guys are each playing like 7 characters. And I was telling Frack, I'm just blown away by, like you described it, a working puzzle piece. Like the whole time, it's just like cogs just perfectly fitting together. It's beautiful.
If you were to walk up onto the stage, we have these like markers, these this where we're supposed to stand, your spike marks.
Yeah.
And each scene, everything was a different color, and each thing had a number. Each little piece of tape had a number on it and a color. Wow. It looked like a football play. It looked like 10,000 football plays. It was like
calling audible.
The audience never saw it, of course, but if you came backstage on the stage, when I bring people on the stage, they're like, what is this? It's like, this is where the leg of the number 2 chair goes. This is where the right upstage leg goes here. And then this is where you stand over there. And then for this scene, when you switch, the thing is rotating, but you have to come up. It was like, even thinking about it, I'm sweating.
On anybody either, by the way.
I'm sweating.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was actually looking on the Apple TV production. I was actually looking to see if y'all had markers, at the end, because I was like, I wonder, like, I just don't, there's so many things happening. There's so many, people on this stage. Everyone's doing something different. I remember, Nick, the character of Nick was sitting down. Then, Bonnie is doing something else, and, Hannah is doing something else. All of a sudden, Nick, gets up and he's, making the calls to control tower. It's like everybody's in movement,
Constant.
Even when the lights are on someone else or something, you guys are doing something else. It's constant motion. And it was, it just blew me away. It really, really did.
It's masterful.
It truly is. And anyone and everyone, not just the actors and actresses, but everyone, the stage lighters, the creators, everyone deserves, everything, because of how incredible this show was. For me, I went to go see it in New Orleans for the touring production for the first time. My girlfriend and I went on StubHub and we found the tickets for like $7. Like, it's crazy. No joke. It was crazy. Like,
Wow.
For the Singer Theater, for some reason, tickets they just drop, value like crazy, even a few days before. And we never heard about it. All I knew was it's about 9/11. I didn't see a trailer. I didn't see anything. Didn't see reviews. And I said, we're just going to go blind with this thing. So we brought our friend Amanda with us. And I'm telling you, and I'm going to try not to cry. Like, it's already happening, but I'm going to tell you, the first time I saw this, I bawled nonstop from the first word, because I knew it was special. I knew this is going to be something.
He's fibbing. He just cried so much like this the other day when we were watching.
Oh my god!
Like,
and this morning,
he was still soft.
Oh, look! Every time, I'll say this. We saw it. I was just like, just completely, out of breath, out of words. I had a headache because I was crying so much in New Orleans, and then. So that was my start of my love for Come From Away. And then, of course, the Cast album had come out around that time, I believe, as well. And so I was listening to it. And then, which we can kind of fast forward for a second. But then, COVID hit, everything shut down. And Apple TV, kind of revived Broadway for many people at home. And they brought back, the original cast and everyone involved, and they released it on Apple TV. And I'm telling you, I had never seen such a perfection of a craft, of Broadway in my life until the Apple TV production. And then, I've probably seen it about maybe 300 or 400 times. No joke.
Really?
It's insane to say that, but really 100%. The first month was twice, 3 times a day, twice at night. I mean, I was just like, I got to go. And I told my girlfriend, we got to go see this. We got to go see it in New York, because this cast is mind blowing me. Like, and which, the first time that, we got, I got to see it was when I had spoken to a person named Colgan, who is part of like the Come From Away team. And he said, we had gotten Beverly Bass on the original show that I was a part of. And he said, anytime you're in New York, we want to offer you, good seats to go see the show. And so I had messaged him. Yes, it was, my goodness. Like, I thought I was bothering the people next to me, because I was like, I was on the 8th or 9th row, center orchestra, and it was in May. It was May 19th, I think it was 19th or 20th. And I'm telling you, I thought I was bothering everybody, and I thought y'all could even hear me sobbing.
Were you blubbering, buddy?
I was like, I was like sobbing because of how, you know, how you guys transferred this Apple TV production that I've seen to the stage, and it'd be even better, you know? And and yeah, so that was kind of my introduction, you know, to Come From Away. And I still tell people today it's my all-time favorite, you know, out of anything I've seen. I tell people I've seen everything. I have. And Come From Away is magical. It's different. I can't even say one other show that compares to this formula that Come From Away creators have created, you know?
Thank you.
How did you not bawl every single I'm
We
being
need the
totally
secret.
serious. Like, this is a super emotional topic, and every lyric is super emotional and just poetic too. Like, it's hard to sing through tears.
Oh my God.
Like, I can only imagine.
I mean, that last night specifically, the closing show.
Wow.
Girl, I said, okay, Q. I had to give myself a talking to from the moment we stepped on that stage.
Yeah.
Okay, so my favorite place in the world is Hawaii. Okay.
Wow.
We got married there. My son has a Hawaiian middle name. We have a family over there that blessed him with their name. It's a whole thing. And I had a flight to Hawaii. You see my finger? This is me talking to myself backstage. And when the lights go down, I'm never off stage anyway, but when the lights go down and nobody can see me and my back is turned to the audience, this is me, Q. You are not going to Hawaii if you cry. You are not going. Q. I had to think terrible thoughts to like. It was, but even before that, like, closing day, like, you know, it took months for me to get through it without crying, months, because I was going through personal things too.
Oh, I'm sure.
And things just come out, you know, just come out of you, you know. And, you know, playing Hannah, especially at the end, it sort of gives you a reason to cry, like all the stuff that you're going through at home or whatever. I was like, ah. And so finally, all of us would, though, all of us. So the director gave us permission to just cry it out, whatever. And then after a while, he's okay. Now that's enough. That's enough. He said, "You've experienced this. Now you have to let don't inform the audience how they're going to feel. Everybody might not feel that way. Let them have their own experience. I let you get it out, but now it's their turn. So stop crying." We're like, okay.
I like that.
So,
I like
me too.
Super crucial. It's like a pep talk for you right there.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And so that was some of the notes that we got, you know, no crying baseball. But you know, that's what it was. I mean, and every night, I mean, it was a different emotion every night. Sometimes I would hear people gasping in the audience, or I remember our first week. Our first week, you know, when I said he's gone, it's over. A young girl, she screams, "No!" And she's screaming and crying. They had to take her out. She's, I mean, bawling, and I stood there like. I mean, it's every night was a different challenge. It's a different audience energy every night.
Yeah.
You know, I felt it every night. I may not have cried tears every night, but I told that story every night, and I felt every word that I said. You know.
Wow.
I'm sobbing now, Q. I'm sobbing now.
Wow.
So
That's beautiful.
what are you doing now, Q? Because I believe, if Frack told me correctly, you're not doing the show anymore. It stopped.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah.
So what's your plan now?
You know, there's never a plan. You know, there's never a plan, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I just kind of show up and see what happens. I'm that kind of person that's like, okay, let's do it. I don't know what's next. I'm excited. I'm not worried about what is next because I have this beautiful family, my son.
Yeah.
It's nice to tuck him in at night now. He's 2.5, and he was born during the pandemic, and it's been hard to, like, I say good night, son, at 5 o'clock when I'm leaving the house or whatever, 6 o'clock at night, and I'm walking out the door. I'm like, I'll see you in the morning. You know what I mean? So it's nice to be able to tuck him in at night, sing to him, read lullabies.
This is the most Hannah thing I have ever.
Yep.
I know. I was not a mom before I started the show. I was not a mom, and I was just dating. Just started dating my boyfriend. He was my best friend, and then we're like, what are we doing? We started dating, and then we got married, I remember we got engaged before we came to Broadway, and we started rehearsals, and I came back with the ring. And Kendra, she's not on Apple TV Plus, but she was the original flight attendant.
Mm-hmm.
She was sitting down on the other side of the studio, and she goes, Q, what is that on your finger? And I was like, oh, yeah. And so we've experienced, don't mind me, we've experienced everything together, this cast. It's 7 years of our lives, almost 8 actually with rehearsals and stuff. But deaths, life, marriages, divorces. We've experienced it all of it. So I don't know what's next, but I want to do voiceover work. I've always been interested in voiceover work. I'm fascinated. Thank you. I am. Definitely. I'm fascinated with the human voice. Like, I'm fascinated with it, and I love adding my voice to a story. I just finished doing my friend's audiobook, and I want to get into animation. And I did a commercial, American Family Insurance, and I've done some things, and I really want to do that more so I can spend more time. I get paid, but also spend time with my family, because theater, you get 1 day off a week. It's like a lot. 8 shows. It's hard. It's like an athlete. It's like everything you do is centered around your performance. Like around the 3 o'clock, I'm probably trying to take a nap or something. And by 4:30, I have to be done eating. Like, I have to have my dinner and be done eating by 4:30, 5 o'clock, so I can be free to sing at 7 o'clock. Like, it's a whole thing. And so,
I'm glad you get to relax. I'm glad you get to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
It's always funny because I used to tell friends of mine, they would always I see them all the time complaining when someone is they specifically go to a show to see someone and they're not there because they're sick, whatever kind of reason. And I always remind everyone, I'm like, these people are human, especially the ones who go 7 years for one show, almost every night.
Yeah.
And one of the last questions I want to ask you is, what do you take from Come From Away as you leave this role, as you bury the role of Hannah? What do you take with you?
That's a wonderful question. I take so much gratitude for the people in Gander, because we were able to go to Gander and do 2 concerts up there before we came to Broadway. Got to meet the real people and did the show in the world's largest walk-in refrigerator that we talk about. So they're so they're such humble people, and they say all we did was make sandwiches. What's the big deal? And I wish that we could be like that. It's like, oh, I helped this homeless person. I gave him a meal and a few dollars. What's the big deal? Oh, I held the door open for this person. What's the big deal? Like,
a little kindness.
Kindness goes a long way. So I will take gratitude and kindness. I've changed because of it. I've changed definitely because of it. And my eyes are a little more open now to needs. It's like, how can I help you? And even if it's just bless you, even if it's just giving somebody an ear, like, what do you want to talk about? Okay, I'm here. Just talk to me. Go ahead. So those are some things that I take with me.
Wonderful and beautifully said.
Yeah, I'm legit. I have to hold
Yeah.
back some tears right now. Q,
Me too.
you're super inspirational, and this musical was inspirational.
Thank you.
Yeah, just you're a wonderful person and wonderful to talk to. Thank you for coming on this show so much.
Thank you. Thanks for asking. I mean, it's always nice to be
Yeah.
asked, and so I'm like, wow, people actually think I'm interesting, and I'm okay. Sure, I'll interview.
This is one of our greatest interviews we've ever done personally.
Oh my gosh, I've done 100,000.
I think I've done over 100 now for celebrity wise or anything, or people who are involved in such, in something big like this. But I personally want to just say thank you for bringing Hannah, the character of Hannah, to life on the stage. I do agree with you. The show is life changing. It has opened my eyes in a lot of different ways as well. It made me more open, I guess you could say, to or even more considerate. I really do believe that. And I think, the New Orleans show was amazing, but I mean, the actual show being in New York, in New York and just down the street, from everything where it truly happened. And, it was just such emotionally captivating, and I just, again, I want to say thank you for being here today as well. And, we love you. We're going to be rooting for anything and everything you're doing in your life in the future.
Oh, wow.
I hope to turn on the TV and hear you in a Geico commercial or something talking and be like, I know her.
That's right. That's right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Where can people find you? Why don't you link up some of your socials or something?
Sure. I'm only on Instagram. My name is on Facebook, but I've never been on Facebook. I have no idea how Facebook works. Every time I do go on there, because somebody sent me something like an invitation to Marketplace or something like that. I'm like, how do I even get there? I have no idea. But I'm only on Instagram, Qperstar, Qperstar. Or you can also go to my website, which is qdotsmith.com. So that's q.smith.com. And that's it. That's it.
Oh my gosh. Thank you again for just being an inspiration, and especially today. I think with the raininess, I think I needed this talk today too. So
and tell your friend I'm proud of her.
Oh, Jane. Yes, Jadejones. Yes, I'm telling you, I'm excited to go see that musical. I hope it's really good, and I know she's doing super well in DC. So she's making herself known out there too. Just like opportunities coming up, man. Like it's gonna be good.
Yeah, good. Well, y'all take care. Thank you again for having me.
Well, this is the Frack and Friends show. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you again, Miss Q. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you, Q.
And we'll see you guys next week. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.